Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, today we're going to tackle a super important topic in Form 3 science, stimuli and responses. Basically, this is all about how we, and well, every living thing, reacts to the world around us. This one always comes out in exams, so pay close attention, okay? Let's go.
Okay, let's start with something you and I do every day without even thinking about it. You know, when you walk out from a dark shopping mall into the bright, hot sun, what's the first thing you do? You squint, right? Or when you accidentally touch a hot kettle. Flip! Your hand pulls back before your brain even goes, ouch! It's these super fast automatic reactions that are at the heart of this chapter.
So, before we go any further, we need to get some key terms down. The first one is stimulus. So what is a stimulus? Simple, it's just a trigger. It's any change in your surroundings that your body can pick up on. For example, that bright sunlight is a stimulus. A loud honk from a car, that's a stimulus. The heat from that hot kettle, also a stimulus. Even the smell of your mum's cooking, or, you guessed it, durian, that's a stimulus too.
Okay, so if the stimulus is the trigger, then what comes next is the response. The response is simply how your body reacts. So, the bright light is the stimulus, and squinting is the response. The heat is the stimulus, and pulling your hand away, that's the response. Easy, right? Stimulus causes a response. But, and this is the cool part, how does our body actually do this? How does it all happen so fast? Let's find out.
Well, the answer to how our body manages all this, all these super fast messages, is our body's control system. And this incredible network is called the nervous system.
Right, so our nervous system is basically made up of two main parts. First, you have the central nervous system, the CNS. This is the big boss, okay? It's the command center, made up of your brain and your spinal cord. This is where all the thinking and decision-making happens. Then you've got the peripheral nervous system, or PNS. Think of this as the delivery network, all the cables and wires, which are your nerves, that connect the big boss, the CNS, to every other part of your body, sending messages out and bringing information back in. Okay, now this slide, this is super, super important for your exam, so please listen carefully. Our actions can be divided into two types. First, you have voluntary actions. Voluntary means you choose to do it. You have conscious control. You decide to raise your hand, you decide to kick a football, you decide to read your textbook. Then you have involuntary actions. These happen automatically. You don't control them. Can you tell your heart to stop beating? No, right? Can you stop yourself from breathing? Not for long. And even things like digestion, that wave-like movement in your gut called peristalsis, that's all involuntary. Remember the difference and some examples. It's a very common question.
So we know the nervous system is like the postal service, sending messages everywhere. But how does it get the message to begin with? Where does the information come from? Well, that's the job of our sensory organs.
Okay, guys, another exam favorite, the mechanism of sight. You really need to know the pathway of light. Let's go through it step by step. First, light enters your eye through the transparent cornea at the front. Then, the pupil, that black dot in the middle, it gets bigger or smaller to control how much light goes in. After that, the eye lens focuses the light, kind of like a projector lens, onto the retina at the back. Now, the retina is like the screen. It has special cells that change the light into an electrical signal, a nerve impulse. Finally, the optic nerve acts like a cable and sends that signal straight to the brain for it to figure out what you're looking at. That's it.
And just like with the eye, you need to know the mechanism of hearing. It's another step-by-step process. So first, your earlobe, the outer part, catches the sound waves. These waves travel in and make your eardrum vibrate. Then, three tiny little bones called ossicles, they amplify these vibrations, making them stronger. They pass these vibrations into the cochlea, which looks like a snail shell. Inside the cochlea, the magic happens. The vibrations are turned into nerve impulses. And finally, the auditory nerve carries these impulses to the brain. Pretty cool, huh?
Now what about the sense of touch? That's our skin, of course. And it's not just one simple sense. Your skin has 5 different types of receptors to detect 5 different things: pain, touch, pressure, heat, and cold. Just imagine you're holding a cold can of Milo. You can feel that it's cold, right? That's the cold receptor. You can feel the pressure of your fingers gripping it. That's the pressure receptor. And you can feel the smooth metal surface. That's the touch receptor. All of them working at once.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about us, about humans and animals. But what about plants? Do they respond to stimuli? Yes, they do. But since they don't have a brain or nerves, they do it in a completely different way. It's often slower, but it's really, really clever. So, the main way plants respond is through something called tropisms. A tropism is just a growth response towards a stimulus. It's all about the direction of growth. Look at this table. It makes it so clear. You have phototropism. Photo means light, so the shoots grow towards the light. That's why your houseplant bends towards the window. Then there's geotropism, which is a response to gravity, so the roots always grow downwards. Hydrotropism, hydro means water, the roots grow towards water. And finally, thigmotropism, which is a response to touch. You see this in climbing plants, how their little tendrils will wrap around anything they touch. Now, besides tropism, plants have another trick up their sleeve. It's called nastic movement. Unlike tropism, this response is not about the direction of the stimulus, and it's usually much faster. The number one example, which I'm sure you've all played with before, is the mimosa plant, or what we call the bokosomalu. You touch its leaves and poof, they fold up immediately. It doesn't matter if you touch it from the top, the bottom, or the side, the response is the same. That's a nastic movement.
Okay, so we've learned a lot about the how our nervous system works, how our senses work, even how plants respond. But now for the most important question, why? Why is all of this so important? Well, it all comes down to one word, survival. And a perfect example of this is how vision helps animals survive. Look at this comparison. It's predator versus prey. Predators, like a harimo, have eyes in the front. This is called stereoscopic vision. Both eyes look at the same thing, which gives them fantastic 3D vision. Why is that important? So they can judge distance perfectly to pounce on their prey. Now look at prey animals, like a deer or a rabbit. Their eyes are on the sides of their head. This is monocular vision. They don't have great 3D vision, but they have a super wide field of view. They can see almost all around them, which is perfect for spotting a predator trying to sneak up. And yes, just like the tiger, we humans are predators too. We have stereoscopic vision. That 3 you see, that's for 3D vision. It's what gives us depth perception. We need it for almost everything we do, trying to catch a badminton shuttlecock, walking down a flight of stairs, or even just pouring a drink into a cup. Without it, life would be very, very difficult. And look, this stuff isn't just theory or something you find in the jungle. We use it every day. When you play sports, you're judging the speed of a ball. That's your nervous system and your eyes working together. When you're in the science lab and you smell something funny, like a gas leak, your sense of smell is keeping you safe. And we've even used this knowledge to help people. Things like Braille for the blind, which uses the sense of touch, or hearing aids to help people hear better. See, this chapter is all around you.
So, to finish up, I want to leave you with something to think about. Our senses are amazing, but they're not perfect. We have limits. We all have a blind spot in our vision, for example. So my question to you is, that rabbit with eyes on the side of its head, what can it see that we can't? What is it sensing that we are completely unaware of? It really makes you think about how different animals experience the world, doesn't it? Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. Study smart, and I'll see you in the next one.